Welcome to Lickin' on Lending, the podcast that dives deep into the heart of the mortgage industry. Your host, David Lickin, bringing you the latest insights, trends, and updates from the world of mortgages. Whether you're a seasoned industry veteran or just getting started, this show is your go-to source for all things mortgage. Let's get started. This is Lickin' on Lending. Now your host, David Lickin.
Folks, we're back with another AI update with Pavan Agrawal. Pavan, good to have you here, and I'm noticing a new look. What's this about, dude? You got some hair. Great facial hair.
I got this beard going. I think I'm dedicating this beard to the 4,000 unfortunate employees that Jack Dorsey laid off last month.
Oh, yeah. Very good. Fit that in there nicely. Very good. Very good.
Yeah, so and that's a perfect segue into what we're talking about today, because Jack Dorsey laid off 4,000 employees, all software engineers.
Okay, Jack Dorsey, for those that don't tie Jack Dorsey, who's Jack Dorsey? Jack
Dorsey was the founder of Twitter.
Yeah, exactly right. Yep.
And then after he sold Twitter to Elon Musk, he started Block.io or something, whatever it's called, something called Block, right? And last month he laid off 4,000 engineers, basically saying that, hey, we don't need you because the AI can do your job.
Wow.
But I have a theory on it. I think it has less to do with AI and more to do with interest rates, because it's easy to hire thousands of engineers and build great technology when interest rates are near zero.
Right.
And money is cheap, and it's easy to raise money.
Right.
Now it's hard to raise money. Money is tight. Money is expensive. So you got to be more efficient. And after he laid off and used the umbrella of we're going all AI engineering, his stock saw a nice jump. Right.
Always more to the story, isn't there, Pavan? Yeah. Well, today
that's my theory. Now, I full disclosure, I haven't done an in-depth analysis of his shares. I haven't interviewed his employees. I have no idea whether.
Yeah,
maybe it is working. I don't know.
It's speculation, but it's interesting speculation. One of the things I want to get into are for our audience, and Pavan, we have got thousands upon thousands of people listening to our AI update. So I want to say again, thank you, and our audience thanks you for your willingness to come on, because you're shedding some real light on things. You're giving us information that's important. To today's podcast listeners, is really, really important that you hear the message of it. Pavan recently sent me a study that was done that I realize I've been falling into the trap of myself. The trap is I've been starting to believe all the hype related to the large language models, ChatGPT, and all the things out there. And I've been getting sucked into, they think, they reason, they generate endless new information. And that's what Silicon Valley wants us to be, they believe, because it helps their stock value, which is exactly what you're talking about, Jack Dorsey. You know, one theory is he laid off 4,000 engineers to pop his stock value. Now, what's behind all that, we don't know. But I want to focus today in on the fallacies. And I want you to help us through this. I want to take the hype out, help our listeners dial into the proper usage of this, where it's good, and dispel the hype. Let's talk about LLMs that process, they don't think. What is meant when the study came out? Explain what they're talking about there. LLMs process, they don't think.
So I'm going to segue. I'm going to shift gears to another legend in the AI industry, in the AI world. His name is Andrew Ng.
Yes, you sent me his information. Fascinating guy.
Yes. Yeah. So when we talk about can AI think, right?
Yes.
Do large language models think? And the answer is no. And the proof of that, or no, I want to say proof, but Andrew Ng agrees with me, who is basically a legend in the AI world. He's come from Google DeepMind and all that. So he established a new test. There's a famous Turing test which AI has passed, and that people start to believe that it can think because it sounds so human-like.
Right. That's how I got sucked into it.
Right. But Andrew says, okay, we need a new test and this test defines what thinking AI is, what artificial general intelligence is. Okay, so what Andrew said is, can an AI, from a human being's perspective, is a thinking machine, like it can do things on its own, right?
Right.
If you can give it a business process, right? If you can give AI a business process in broad terms, as you would instruct a human, I would say, hey, Lincoln, process this loan for me.
Right.
Right. I just took this loan out, Lincoln. Process this loan. Go get it approved. Okay. Right. You can't do that with ChatGPT or any of the Gemini or any of these guys. If you try, it's going to do something, but it's not going to be able to get it all the way through.
Good.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But
Yep.
but when you cross over into artificial general intelligence and the test that Andrew Ng has proposed, which I think will go down in history as the Ng test, is you would instead say, you'd give it to an AI and say, hey, process this loan for me. And if the AI has processed it successfully by itself, right, given the vague requirements that you gave it and the information you gave it, and it just does the rest by itself and gets the loan completely processed, right? Now you as a human being can't tell the difference whether that was an AI or a human that did it.
Right.
Right? Other than the AI would be super fast and won't make any mistakes, right? You'll be able to tell from the quality of the work. You won't be able to tell from the actual work itself, right? So that is the new artificial general intelligence test, the Ng test.
Okay.
That has been established. Okay, and so where we are today is any system that's built on as a wrapper on Gemini or LLM or ChatGPT or Claude or whatever, right? And those are like those systems do incredible things. We all use them. We use them. Our own engineers use them. Our own engineers use Claude every single day to write a lot of code. That's why our productivity is so high. That's one of the questions you asked me before. How is it that we keep coming out with new products so quickly?
Yes.
Right? Because we use the AI tools as a force multiplier, right? And we use it so effectively and so much, right? So what our engineers were doing previously in months, what used to take them like 6 months, they're getting done in 6 days, right?
Wow.
It is.
So there is an absolute place for this. I think what we're trying to do is put the proper guardrails around this so that we don't run off a cliff with our thinking or expectations or misnomers, the hype that is out there so present. So, okay.
Right. So continuing on to that. So what I'm going to say here is when I listen to what Andrew Ng is saying and I study the test that he put in front, and I said, hey, wait a minute. I said, I wasn't on a mission to achieve AGI, but I said, we can actually pass that test, or just about. We're very close to passing that test. Okay, because you can go to Angel AI right now. You can give it vague information about your loan file,
Right.
and give it your vague documents, whatever you have, and say, process this loan and get me a loan approval. And Angel AI will just do it, right? And it feels like magic. And we've been doing this for years now, right? And no one believes it because people are like, how can this be possible? And until they actually use it, and then they're like, oh my God, right? And then
there's that oh my God
80% of the
moment, yes.
people who experience it get scared,
Yeah.
right? And the reason I say we're almost there is because behind the scenes, it's augmented intelligence and there's still human beings that are overseeing it and helping it along. But we are at a point now where this is less than 5% assistance. I think we're getting like.
Are we going to ever get to a point where there's now no assistance, Pavan?
I think so.
You think it's possible?
I think it's possible. I think we're going to get to like 99.9% very soon. And there will be the 0.1 will be the exception. The edge cases that it can't handle.
Yeah.
And that'll be
What's
estimated
really
to-
interesting, and I think this is such an important point here, because I have a number of my friends that are really locked in and on our podcast here. We're talking about AI updates. And they go, look, can you believe in this? But do you know that Pavan has all these engineers in India and all these people working behind the scenes? I go, yes. It's because there is some number, that number is dwindling as you're talking about, but because you wanted to give an accurate answer. So the people that are saying that in a critical way are buying into the hype that AI can do everything. It can't. And you're going to be mistaken, listener, if you're designing systems, doing anything, and you think you're going to create a system that doesn't require augmented humans involved. When I say augmentation, augmented into that process, and you're going to think that this system is going to get it. It may, is what you're saying. It might eventually, but we're not there. Not even close.
Yeah, I mean, even ChatGPT or DeepSeek or any of the models that you use, right? They're all augmented intelligence. It's just that they front loaded. They use a company. There's a third party called Scale AI. They use that company to scour all the data.
Hey, man, wait a minute. Tell me, this is some new information. I don't remember. I remember you've mentioned this before, but go into it a little bit more. So what you're just saying, what I heard you just say is ChatGPT is using augmented. It's not all.
In effect, I mean, when you use it, there's no human oversight, and that's one of the they just got.
But they front load. So what do you mean by they front load it?
Okay, so basically, if you I think Scale AI has got like 100,000 or 500,000 employees all over the world, and what they're doing is they're taking data and they're organizing and tagging it, and basically putting every possible combination, right, together, right? So if you put every possible combination, you feed it to a computer, right? Then the computer is nothing more than a great big switchboard, and it's finding the combination that you need.
Ah, okay.
Right.
That's
right. I mean, it's kind of a cheat code in a way, right? That's why these models get bigger and bigger.
Interesting.
Right.
So that's,
I mean, I'm way anybody who understands how these things work. I'm way oversimplifying it. There's a lot more to it than that. But the point is that if you there's hundreds of thousands of employees in the AI economy right now that all they do, and these companies have spent billions and billions of dollars, and all they do is prepare the data to be ingested by the language models.
okay. Interesting.
Right? And that's why we say in a couple of years, the most valuable thing that you will own is your data. Do not give that away.
Boy, I just came off of talking to my medical provider a minute ago, and we just ran a whole new series of tests. I mean, I'm healthy and all that, but I want to stay healthy. I'm 75. I want to stay healthy, and I want to be in optimal health. So as she's reading this off, and I'm going, where's this data? Where does this sit? I got to own this. And we had a conversation. We're going to be releasing this podcast coming up with you and Devin, talking about owning your data. It's one of the most valuable things. You made a prediction we're just a little bit rabbit trail off here, but you made a prediction in that interview. So I'm teasing it up to have people go listen to that interview. You made a prediction that 2/3 of your income is going to come from the data you own.
That's right. You're going to, if
your data, you'll sell your data.
If you stop giving it away, and start storing it in your Angel Wallet, go into Angel AI and create your Angel Twin, create your Angel Wallet, and start storing your data in your Angel Wallet. Then it just doesn't belong to me, doesn't belong to Google. It only belongs to you then. Okay, and start storing it in your Angel Wallet. And then the future is companies will pay you every single month royalties to use your data.
That's a whole other podcast we got to get into, because there's a lot of people, the revenue models that we're going to see in the future based on data that's your data. We got to get into that. But I want to get back and keep talking down this. One of the other misnomers is LLMs rationalize, they don't reason. So we think they reason. And what this study or what you sent me really points out, they rationalize. What do you mean? So break this down a little bit, rationalization versus reasoning.
Yeah, I think the simplest way to explain that is the example I sent you yesterday. So the thing is that it's not the AI that gave you that answer. It was a classic, you can get these like open source Python library for math formula calculations, right? But then the cool part is, for as you and I as human beings, is that it's a single interface. You just chat with it and it gives you the answer. Right?
Okay.
And that's the cool part. But it's not the LLM that gave that answer. It went out and did it some other way.
Okay. So So let's get into the reasoning part of it. They don't reason. And people are getting buying into, I'm going to put this in. I'll have this do my reasoning for me.
Right. And that's the point, right? If it didn't have to go out to the calculator app and get go to classic code and get the answer. If the neural net itself could have come up with the answer on its own, right, then it was reasoning. Right? If the neural net actually understood what it means to multiply and divide instead of just guessing at an answer, then it's actually reasoning. Okay. Instead, what it did was said, "Oh, you've got a math question, so I'm going to go and call a classic math engine."
Okay, and that's what it did.
That's what it did.
So,
right? So it's not reasoning.
So what's the most important thing as people are using this, and you said you and your own engineers are using this like crazy.
Yeah.
So, but here's what I'm trying to establish for our listeners. Put in for our listeners the context for which they should use it and should not use it.
Well, I mean, this is a perfect example, right? If you try to use it for things that require reasoning, right? Like in the mortgage.
Give us an example when I'm thinking of things for what's a good example when you're reasoning.
Like in the mortgage sense, here, you know what? I got examples here. Here we go. So here's the question, right? I have a borrower who has a home in California and she lives in the guest house. Okay. And she lived in the guest house and she rented the main house. Would this be considered owner occupied?
Okay.
That requires some reasoning. You got to understand the guidelines, and you got to understand what all this means. Okay. So the right answer, which Angel Eye gave, is the property can be considered owner occupied if the borrower's occupancy is well supported by employment documentation and utility bills. However, rental income from the main house cannot be used to qualify the borrower. So that's the right answer, right? And another company using an LLM gave a completely wrong answer.
Well, another mortgage company. And we're not going to reveal the name of the company, but a major lender out there,
right,
who has developed supposedly their own AI,
right,
gave the wrong answer.
Yes, gave a completely wrong answer. This is a long, confusing answer. I don't want to read it. You can go to our website and check it out.
So the most important thing, Pavan, I want our listeners to have is whether you're using the ChatGPTs or any of the large language models out there, any of the AI tools, you need to have proper expectations and you need to do your homework. You just can't buy into it. We've had Jennifer talking about deterministic results. If you could, let's go back and visit that again.
Yeah, well, that's like the example I just gave, right? We asked a question about a straightforward question about the borrower living in the ADU, right? And its deterministic answer means that it gave one precise answer.
Versus a problem.
Right, and then if you go back, if you go to our site and you look at the answers that the other systems give, they're all over the place, because they can't figure out what's right or wrong. They're guessing at answers. Okay, they sound like an inexperienced loan officer.
Well, worse yet, it's bringing consumers down a path with an expectation. Either you're losing loans, listeners, because you're getting wrong answers using these other companies' tools, or you are and you're misleading borrowers, and you're getting into a problem where you think a loan can be done, then you find out as you get down to the wire, which has been a problem in our industry for years. We take consumers down the wire, and then, oops, we made a mistake.
Exactly.
And that is, in my opinion, just morally bankrupt.
Right, and that happens in this industry all the time, and that's why Angel AI has a warranty on it. And we've had this warranty for 7+ years.
Yeah.
And we've only had, in the first 2 years, we had 4 failures, right? Or 4 times where we had to scratch and dent a loan, because we always honored the warranty, right?
Yeah.
And that's so the last 5 years completely clean, right? So and we're talking about, I think we had 37 billion closed so far. That's 200,000 plus transactions, and in total we've decisioned like close to 70 billion.
$70 billion worth of loans. Yeah.
$70 billion worth of loans have gone through it. 37 billion have closed.
Yeah.
It's 60, 70 billion. Actually, like the AI's process and decisions touched real families that we handled accurately.
Yeah. One of the things I want to say in here, that The purpose of this is to help you listeners rely on systems that'll give you the right answers and not create problems for you, your loan officers, or more importantly, the consumer. Pavan, I've gotten to know Pavan at a personal level. And while he's a brilliant mathematician, scientist, innovator, technologist, all the things, all the terms you could ever want to use to describe him, at the core, he wants to help society. He wants to help people. He is not putting this up there to say how good we are and how bad they are. He's trying to alert you to the fact there are errors out there. And that's the whole purpose I wanted to have you come on today, is talk about the hype that is out there and bringing it in. And for those that have been critical of the system, say, well, he relies on humans. Yes, less and less so, but it's a good thing you have, because now you have deterministic, absolutely guaranteed results, Pavan.
Yeah, and what at the end of the day, doesn't matter how we do it, right? You put in a request, you get an answer in a couple of minutes. We could put in a million requests at the same time. You still get your answers back right away, right? And we warrant it. So who cares how we do it? We could have a bunch of squirrels with abacuses, doing this thing, right? I mean, what does it matter? You as a customer using it,
yes,
right? You're getting all the benefit.
You're getting the benefit of it. Yeah, perfect. Pavan, it is always so fun to have you on. I appreciate what you're doing for our industry, for the consumers. And we got to go back into talking about blockchain, because what we touched on as a little rabbit trail in here was the data. I'm really excited about releasing the podcast you and I recorded with Damon here just recently, and all the other things that you're working on. At the end of the day, Angel AI is going to be important, but really tokenization, blockchain, Angel AI wallet is really what we're talking about here. Is one of the most important things everyone gets established. Use the tool, Angel AI, absolutely. But absolutely, more importantly, get your Angel AI wallet so that you can start dumping medical information, everything. It's not just for the mortgage industry. It's you owning your data. Can't wait to have you back. That's maybe our next episode, where we're gonna release the interview with Damon. We'll get into that, and then get into what you were saying there, which was quite honestly astounding to me, that a 2/3 of my revenue, my income, my personal income, will be by selling or leasing out the data, my data.
Right. So one last thing I want to add is, for anyone who's skeptical about the science behind Angel AI, just go to our white papers. We put it out there in public. Right. Yes. And the reason we wrote these, this is the research and the science behind how this works.
Yeah.
So we don't give it all away. We give you some clues.
Yeah.
So just go to angelai.com/white paper. And it's our transactional language model, it's a term that we coined. We're delivering today what the big tech guys are just now starting to think about. Like, how do we actually, the Jensen of NVIDIA was on the record just 2 weeks ago saying, okay, we need to make a shift to industrial AI. How do we make that shift?
Interesting.
Right? And we've already been, and we talk all about industrial AI, how we've been doing this for years, because as good as the current AI technology is, and again, we use a lot of that ourselves, right? We use it heavily. It's amazing, but to get value, like again, where you tell the AI, I need something, and it goes out and does it, and it gives it back to you all autonomously, right? That's the next level of thinking, and a completely different strategy you got to deploy.
Yeah. We got to get into it more, Pavan. We've burned up our time for today. Always good to have you here. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. And I encourage people to go check it out. Go angelai.com/white paper. I've got it up on my screen. I'll put a link to it in the podcast. Check it out. There's so much to learn, and we're in the infancy of this thing called AI. Thanks for being here for the latest AI update, Pavan. Much appreciated.
Cheers.
You bet. Folks, I hope you enjoyed this information that we're presenting on AI Update with Pavan. There's so much that we are wanting to share with you on this. And I'll get a lot of calls from you all. And thank you so much for the calls and your interest in what we're doing here. And I bring on the naysaying. I have a number of you have called me and says, yeah, but. So there's a lot of you that are going, yeah, but, yeah, but. But the reality is open your heart to what we're doing, what Pavan is doing here. And what I'm trying to do is help you get through this and understand it. You say, well, there's a lot of different perspectives other than just Pavan's. Well, I've learned to trust who you get your information from. That's why I'm an advisor. I like to think I'm giving out the best information as a business advisor. I know Pavan is giving out the best information when it comes to AI. That's why we're doing these updates with him. Yes, there's a lot of brilliant minds out there, but I'm going to the most trusted sources, people I know for decades, like I've known Pavan, and I know what his heart is and what he's trying to accomplish here. He's trying to change the world in a positive way. I hope you enjoyed this update. I want to say a special thank you. It's made possible by Angel AI, and of course, Pavan. Have a blessed day. Thank you so much for being here.
You've been listening to Lickin' on Lending. Our passion is to bring you the latest insights, trends, and updates from the world of mortgages. So on this show, if you're a seasoned industry veteran or just getting started, it's your go-to source for all things mortgage. We hope you've enjoyed the show. We'll be back soon. Take care, and we'll see you next time on Lickin' on Lending.